Listen closely, because what you're about to hear is not a coincidence. It's a divine interruption, a message sent straight from heaven, timed perfectly for your heart and your situation. Someone is about to exit your life, and while the farewell will not be easy, know this: it's not random, it's not accidental, it's heaven moving, heaven intervening. God saw what you couldn't see, He heard what was said when you weren't around, and He's stepping in, not to hurt you, but to cleanse, to prepare, to bless. You may be holding on with all your strength, trying to preserve a connection that once meant everything, but God is saying, let me remove what's in the way, so I can make room for what's on the way. This message is not just words, it's a prophetic sign, a holy signal, confirmation that your season is shifting. When God wants to get your attention, He doesn't always use thunder or miracles. Sometimes, He whispers through discomfort, speaks in silence, and moves in distance. You felt it, the change in tone, the absence where once there was presence, the cooling of warmth that used to bring comfort. You've asked yourself, what did I do wrong? But maybe it's not about fault, it's about divine redirection. There are people who come as blessings for a moment, not for a lifetime, meant to teach, to align, to awaken something sacred within you. But when their time is up, heaven gently starts to pull them away. The doors they once came through start to close. And if you try to keep open what God is sealing shut, you'll suffer in places meant to set you free. This separation may bring tears, it might feel unjust, but God is saying, I'm clearing out space for a promise. At first, the void will creep in quietly, you'll check your phone and see no message, walk into places that now feel unfamiliar, hear songs that sting, revisit memories that used to bring joy but now feel like echoes. And you'll ask, why, God? But what you don't see yet is that this emptiness is fertile soil for something greater. The pain feels sharp, the absence real, but heaven is working behind the scenes, orchestrating something you can't yet comprehend. God doesn't cling to what's broken, He builds with what's faithful. If someone is walking away, it's because they're not meant to stay, because your future has no room for their weight. They may have walked beside you, maybe even helped you once, but the road ahead is holy ground, and not everyone has the spiritual footing to journey there. The silence you feel is not neglect, it's protection. The retreat you perceive is not rejection, it's positioning. What felt like support has become subtle sabotage, and what once lifted you now burdens you. God is saying, I want to elevate you, but I can't do it if you're still tethered to what's holding you down. You prayed for clarity, and He's giving it, not with noise, but with space. You asked for peace, and now you breathe easier without that presence, even if you don't fully understand why. This is God shielding you from soul ties that were silently poisoning your spirit, from words that planted doubt, from alliances that invited chaos into your sanctuary. He's pulling back what was never meant to be permanent, and if you try to resurrect what God has buried, you'll bleed in battles that are no longer yours. You thought they were forever, but heaven says they were seasonal, sent to teach, not to stay. And now, God is severing what would have sabotaged your purpose. He saw the envy, the hidden agendas, the emotional drain, the subtle distractions. And out of love, not cruelty, he removed them. If you insist on keeping what he's cutting, the cost will be your peace, your purpose, your future. Don't try to fix what God has freed you from. This is not punishment, it's preservation. It's the answer to prayers you whispered in the dark, Lord, if it's not from you, remove it. And now, he has. Don't call it cruelty when it's really mercy. Don't mourn the closure, bless it. You're not being abandoned, you're being aligned. This silence is not rejection, it's redirection. Yes, it hurts. But so does growth. Yes, the tears fall. But so does revelation. There are people who only walk in your life when it's shallow, but now God is calling you into deep waters, and not everyone knows how to swim there. The atmosphere is shifting, and God will not let old energy pollute new dimensions. He's calling you higher, and that ascent requires you to be light, focused, free. If you drag the wrong person into your next chapter, they'll turn your promise into a prison. So God, in His kindness, breaks your heart now to preserve your future later. And if this is confirming what you've been feeling, then don't resist, release. Say aloud in your spirit, Lord, I trust you, even when it hurts. Because what you're releasing is not a loss, it's the clearing of a path. You were entangled in emotional roots that grew in the wrong soil. And now, God is transplanting you, placing you where your gift will thrive, where your voice will be heard, where your spirit can finally exhale. Let Him do the holy surgery. Let Him tear away the counterfeit to make room for the consecrated. The days ahead will be lighter. The vision will become clearer. You'll feel it, the unburdening. You'll rise with a new strength, a new peace, a clarity that only comes after surrender. This isn't the end, it's a reset, a realignment, a resurrection. Trust the silence. Embrace the separation. Release the unnecessary. Because what you think is rejection is heaven's redirection. What looks like heartbreak is actually breakthrough. Let go now, so you can grow next. And when the new comes, because it will, you'll look back and say, God, thank you for removing what I never had the strength to walk away from. And when the new comes, because it will, you'll look back and say, God, thank you for removing what I never had the strength to walk away from. Because that's the truth, isn't it? Sometimes, the things we cling to the hardest are the very things God is trying to peel from our hands. We confuse comfort for calling, history for destiny, attachment for alignment. But God doesn't honor comfort zones, He honors obedience. And obedience often hurts before it heals. So, if you feel like things are falling apart, maybe they're actually falling into divine order. Trust that chaos is often the canvas where God paints clarity. This is the season where your discernment must be sharper than your desire. What once seemed attractive now reveals its true nature. The masks are dropping. The words that used to soothe now sting with hidden meanings. The presence you once craved now leaves you drained, not filled. And in the stillness, in the absence, in the ache of letting go, you start to see more clearly. This was never meant to last. This was never meant to follow you into your next dimension. You were growing, evolving, and that scared them, not because you wronged them, but because your light began to expose their shadows. And rather than grow with you, they withdrew, criticized, or clung tighter, not out of love, but out of fear. But God is not asking you to shrink to keep the peace. He's asking you to rise, even if that rise requires you to walk alone for a while. There is power in solitude. There is clarity in silence. And right now, heaven is pulling you into a place of sacred isolation, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You cannot hear divine strategy in the noise of unhealthy attachments. You cannot carry new oil in old wineskins. So God is stripping away the unnecessary, friends who no longer speak life, habits that quietly decay your potential, patterns that disguise themselves as personality but are really prisons you built to cope. This is your moment of transformation, and it starts in the wilderness, not the spotlight. Don't fear the desert. It's in the desert where prophets are formed, where clarity is carved out of silence, where strength is built in secret. You thought you were being left behind, but God was really pulling you ahead, pulling you out of imitation so He could give you authenticity. You're not who you used to be. And because of that, you cannot take with you what was attached to the old version of you. God is calling forth your higher self, the version of you that prays with fire, walks in authority, and no longer tolerates cycles disguised as relationships. That version of you doesn't beg for closure or chase validation. That version of you knows that peace is not a luxury, it's a requirement. You don't have time to negotiate with what drains you. You don't have space to entertain what delays you. And you certainly don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing. Your future is calling, and it speaks a language of alignment. You will no longer be content with lukewarm faith, halfway love, or convenient loyalty. What's coming demands your full focus, your whole heart, your undivided spirit. And that's why the shaking is necessary. That's why God is allowing people to walk out, why doors are closing with no warning, why opportunities that once seemed golden now feel like dead ends. Because anything not rooted in truth must be removed before the promise is revealed. God is not being cruel, He's being careful with your destiny. He knows what you don't. He sees the unseen. And He's removing in private what would have destroyed you in public. Let that sink in. Some of the losses you mourn today are the very things that would have sabotaged your tomorrow. You can't see it now, but one day, you'll thank God for the no's, the rejections, the unanswered calls, the friendships that faded. Because in their place, God is sending people who sharpen you, stretch you, and protect your peace. He's releasing provision that flows, opportunities that align, and purpose that ignites your soul. You will not have to fight to be seen. You will not have to beg to be loved. You will be valued where you are planted, and where you're headed. No one will have to question why you're there. They'll know. They'll see the glow that only comes from glory. But first, the pruning. First, the cutting away of the counterfeit. It may sting, but it's sacred. It may feel like loss, but it's really liberation. And when it's all said and done, you'll look back and realize, what felt like a breakdown was actually your breakthrough in disguise. You didn't lose them, they lost access to you. They lost access to your prayers, your support, your loyalty, your spirit. And that's not arrogance, it's awareness. When you recognize your worth, you stop begging others to recognize it too. You were never meant to live small. You were never meant to apologize for your calling. And you were certainly never meant to remain in places that celebrate your silence more than your voice. That time is over. You are stepping into fullness, into favor, into a frequency that only attracts the authentic. No more counterfeit connections, no more temporary people in permanent places. This is your season of intentionality. Every yes must be prayed through. Every connection must be spirit-led. Every step must be guided by peace, not pressure. God is not done with you, He's just getting started. And what He's preparing behind the scenes is bigger than anything you've imagined. That's why the warfare has been intense. That's why the shaking has been relentless. Because the enemy senses what's coming, and he's trying to distract you before you arrive. But don't fall for it. Don't go back. Don't reattach yourself to what God has already delivered you from. Don't re-enter relationships that drained you. Don't reply to messages that reawaken old wounds. You are not who you were. And because of that, not everyone can have access to you. The door is closed for a reason. The silence is divine. And the loneliness you feel is the soil where new strength is growing. God is birthing something through you, something holy, something heavy, something heaven-backed. And when it comes forth, it will all make sense. Every tear, every unanswered question, every painful release, it will all be worth it. Stay the course. Guard your spirit. Protect your peace. And above all, trust the process. Because what's coming has your name on it. And when it arrives, you'll understand why God had to remove what He did. You'll understand why the separation was necessary. You'll understand that His no was actually a not like that. You'll understand that the silence wasn't absence, it was alignment. The distance wasn't rejection, it was direction. And the heartbreak wasn't punishment, it was preparation for the promise. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep surrendering. Your future is unfolding. Heaven is leaning in. And what felt like the end is really your beginning. This is holy ground. Walk in it boldly. You don't need to announce what God is doing. Let them think you're quiet, distracted, disappearing. Let them misunderstand your absence. Because while they talk, heaven works. While they gossip, God gathers. While they wonder where you went, you are being refined, redefined, realigned. You're in your quiet season, not because you're hiding, but because you're healing. And healing doesn't always look glamorous. It looks like boundaries. It looks like saying no without guilt. It looks like praying through the urge to return to old cycles. It looks like journaling through tears no one sees. It looks like worshiping with a heavy heart and choosing hope anyway. This is the soil of breakthrough. The sacred middle where you're not who you used to be, but not yet where you're going. Don't rush it. Don't despise it. This is where identity is forged. This is where peace is no longer circumstantial but rooted. This is where God removes every counterfeit so that what's meant for you has space to breathe. And when it arrives, because it will, you won't have to force it. You won't question it. You'll recognize it by the peace it brings, not the confusion it causes. You'll know it's from God because it will fit your healed self, not your broken one. You're not too late. You haven't missed it. That thing you keep thinking has passed you by. It's not lost, it's loading. It's being aligned with a version of you who knows how to steward it, how to protect it, how to honor it. God doesn't deal in delays, He deals in development. And every moment of waiting, every hidden day, every silent season has been working for you. You've been gaining wisdom. You've been cultivating character. You've been learning how to love without losing yourself. You've been shedding old identities. You've been making space. And now, with every passing day, you are becoming the person who can carry the weight of your next level with grace, not striving. There's a stillness coming, a divine steadiness that doesn't panic when things shift. You'll carry a presence that calms storms instead of creating them. You'll speak with a voice that carries oil, not ego. You'll enter rooms and shift the atmosphere, not because of who you are, but because of what you've endured. Your scars will speak louder than your success. Your testimony will open doors you never had to knock on. And the very things that once broke you will become the bridge that others walk across into their own healing. You won't just be blessed, you'll be a blessing. You won't just survive, you'll lead others out.